In the world of prepping, there's a looming shadow that often goes ignored, a dark side that casts unsettling pallor over the survivalist community. It's a topic that many shy away from, preferring to stay in the comfort zone of gear reviews, bug-out bag essentials, and wilderness survival tips. Yeah, it's an issue that needs urgent attention, one that we must confront head-on if we are to navigate through the potential perils of a societal breakdown. This video aims to shed light on this oft-overlooked aspect of prepping, a scenario where some preppers, rather than becoming the protectors they envision themselves to be, might morph into threats. Many preppers, in their zeal to prepare for the worst-case scenarios, focus disproportionately on acquiring sophisticated gear and weapons. In doing so, they sometimes overlook the rudimentary necessities of survival: food, water, shelter, first aid, and most importantly, the ability to coexist with others in harmony. This skewed focus is concerning, as it could lead to a situation where people are more prepared to fight than to survive. Added to this is the disturbing glorification of societal collapse scenarios among certain preppers. There seems to be a perverse fascination with the lawless aspect of a societal breakdown, where the rules of civility no longer apply and survival of the fittest is the order of the day. When one browses through content related to prepping, it's disheartening to see that videos about firearms and combat tactics garner significantly more attention than those teaching essential survival skills. This lopsided interest is indicative of a deeper issue, an unhealthy attraction to the idea of lawlessness and violence. It's crucial to remember that maintaining our humanity and ethics is just as important, if not more so, in crisis situations. In the face of adversity, we must not lose sight of our moral compass. The objective should be to survive and help others survive, not to dominate or exploit the vulnerable. This video aims to delve deeper into the reasons behind this concerning trend. Why are some individuals more drawn to the chaos and lawlessness that could ensue from a societal collapse? Is it the thrill of power, the allure of freedom from rules, or a misguided interpretation of what it means to be a survivor? The shortage of real-world skills and education. In the world of survival preparation, there is a growing concern that has been largely overlooked: the lack of practical skills and training. This issue, while seemingly innocuous at first glance, could have far-reaching implications in a real-world survival scenario. It is a topic that needs to be addressed with utmost sincerity as we continue our journey in the expansive terrain of prepping. The prepping community, by and large, is a vibrant congregation of individuals who share a common goal: to survive when the proverbial excrement hits the fan. They invest time, money, and energy in preparing for a myriad of potential disasters, from natural calamities to societal breakdowns. However, amidst this flurry of activities, there is an alarming trend that threatens to undermine the very essence of survival preparation: the lack of practical skills and training. In the age of e-commerce and instant gratification, it's incredibly easy to amass a horde of survival gear. Versing Crash Share 2. A few clicks on your device, and you can have an array of tactical tools delivered right to your doorstep. But the question remains, how many of us actually know how to use these tools effectively? How many of us have the practical skills to survive without relying solely on our gear? Unfortunately, the answer is not very encouraging. There seems to be a wide chasm between the high interest in acquiring survival gear and the low interest in developing essential survival skills. Many preppers appear to be more fascinated with the thrill of gear accumulation than the actual acquisition of survival know-how. This discrepancy is not just concerning, it's potentially deadly. Survival, in its rawest form, is not about owning the most advanced tactical gear. It's about having the knowledge and skills to adapt to any situation. It's about knowing how to find food and water, how to build a shelter, how to navigate through unfamiliar terrain, how to administer first aid, and so on. These are the skills that have ensured the survival of our species for millennia, long before the advent of modern survival gear. The lack of practical skills and training in the prepper community is a ticking time bomb. Without these skills, even the most well-equipped prepper might find themselves at a loss when faced with a real-world survival scenario. The tactical gear that they've accumulated over the years would be rendered useless if they don't know how to use them effectively. Moreover, without proper training, there's a high chance that these tools could cause more harm than good. Yes, knife is not just a tool. It's a potential weapon. A firearm in the hands of an untrained individual is not just ineffective. It's downright dangerous. In extreme situations, this lack of practical skills and training could lead some preppers to resort to violence out of desperation or fear, thereby becoming threats rather than protectors. This is why it's absolutely critical for preppers to invest in practical skills training. Whether it's wilderness survival courses, first aid training, navigation workshops, or self-defense classes, gaining practical knowledge is the ultimate prepper asset. It's an asset that cannot be lost, stolen, or damaged. It's an asset that could mean the difference between life and death in a survival scenario. 2, not caring about necessary survival steps. Survival preparation at its core is about being ready to face a range of potential disasters, from natural calamities to societal upheavals. It involves a comprehensive approach that encompasses not just self-defense, but also basic human needs like food, water, shelter, and first aid. However, there seems to be a growing disconnect between this holistic view of survival preparation and the actual interests of a significant portion of the prepper community. This disconnect is most evident in the content consumption patterns within the prepper community. A casual glance at popular survival forums, blogs, and video channels reveals an intriguing discrepancy. Videos and posts featuring high-tech gear, firearms, and combat tactics seem to garner significantly more views and shares compared to those covering essential survival skills like water purification, food preservation, shelter building, and first aid. Why does this matter? Because it indicates a dangerous oversight that could prove catastrophic in a real-world survival scenario. A well-stocked arsenal might offer a sense of security, but it won't quench your thirst or satiate your hunger. A top-notch tactical knife might be a valuable tool, but it won't keep you warm on a cold night or treat your injuries. It's important to remember that survival is fundamentally about sustaining life. So this means prioritizing the basics, food, water, shelter, and health, over everything else. Self-defense, while undeniably important, should not overshadow these essential aspects of survival. Therein lies the problem. The current trend of disinterest in essential survival preparations is creating a community of preppers who are well equipped but potentially ill prepared. They have the gear, but do they have the knowledge and skills to meet their basic survival needs? This skewed interest represents a significant blind spot. In a real-world survival scenario, this lack of focus on essential survival skills could lead to a dangerous situation where people are more likely to engage in violent confrontations over resources rather than knowing how to procure or create their own. So what's the solution? It lies in a shift of focus. As a prepping community, it's crucial that we advocate for a more balanced approach to survival preparation. This means placing equal importance on learning essential survival skills as we do on acquiring tactical gear. We need to understand that survival gear is just a tool, and like any tool, its effectiveness depends on the skill of the user. It's time to bring back the basics. Let's start prioritizing content that teaches us how to purify water, preserve food, build a shelter, administer first aid, navigate using natural markers, and so on. Let's ensure that the next generation of preppers is equipped not just with the latest gear, but also with the knowledge and skills necessary to use them effectively. Free us, reckless attitude, not planning for future. The culture within certain factions of the prepper community seems to be imbued with an aggressive cowboy attitude. This mindset prioritizes force over strategy, quickness over careful planning, and toughness over diplomacy. That manifests in how these preppers consume media, discuss survival scenarios, and plan their prepping strategies. This approach, while seemingly attractive due to its machismo and emphasis on immediate action, is both short-sighted and risky. By focusing solely on aggression and force, these preppers overlook the complexities of survival situations and the potential benefits of more nuanced strategies. One of the key oversights of this aggressive mindset is the assumption that every post-disaster encounter is an enemy situation. This assumption could potentially lead to unnecessary conflicts, alienating potential allies and wasting valuable resources. In reality, not every stranger in a post-apocalyptic world is an enemy. Some might be potential allies willing to share resources, knowledge, and skills for mutual benefit. Moreover, this aggressive mindset often overlooks the importance of alliances and sharing resources for survival. In a post-disaster scenario, cooperation and community could be just as important, if not more so than individual strength and weapons. The old adage strength in numbers holds true, especially when resources are scarce and threats are abundant. A lack of forethought and planning can also lead to both immediate and long-term survival challenges. For instance, forcibly taking resources from others might solve an immediate need but could lead to lasting repercussions. These actions have both moral and ethical implications as well as strategic consequences. Reckless aggression can result in burning bridges and creating enemies, which is a dangerous proposition in a changed world where survival hinges on adaptability, resourcefulness, and alliances. Furthermore, an aggressive mindset could lead to a vicious cycle of violence, causing unnecessary harm and potentially turning the prepper into the very threat they were preparing against. It's crucial to understand that being prepared for disaster scenarios doesn't necessitate an aggressive, combative attitude. It requires a balanced approach that includes strategic planning, resource management, skill development, and community building. A truly prepared prepper is not just strong and armed. They are also thoughtful, adaptable, and cooperative. And for fascination with content featuring violence, the world of survival preparation, or prepping as it's colloquially known, is a diverse one. It includes individuals from all walks of life who share a common goal: to be ready for whatever life throws at them. However, this shared objective seems to be getting overshadowed by a growing fascination with high action, explosive content that more closely resembles action movies than real life survival scenarios. This attraction to violence is evident in the media consumption patterns within the prepper community. Content featuring high-octane action, firefights, and dramatic confrontations garner significantly more attention compared to content focusing on essential survival skills like food preservation, water purification, shelter building, and first aid. The more violent and action-packed the content, the more popular it seems to be. While such content can certainly be entertaining and exciting, it paints an unrealistic and potentially harmful picture of what survival preparation truly entails. Real-world survival is less about high adrenaline combat and more about enduring hardship, solving problems, and preserving life. It's not a blockbuster movie. It's a test of resilience, resourcefulness, and determination. Moreover, this attraction to violence-oriented content feeds into a dangerous narrative that equates survival with combat. It fosters an aggressive mindset that prioritizes force over strategy, confrontation over cooperation, and toughness over adaptability. This skewed perception could lead to unnecessary conflicts, waste of resources, and even loss of life in actual survival situations. The glamorization of violence also detracts from the true essence of prepping. True preparation involves readiness for a variety of scenarios, natural disasters, societal breakdowns, pandemics, and more. It's about life preservation, not just self-defense. It's about learning how to live off the land, how to purify water, how to treat injuries, and how to navigate without modern technology. The focus needs to shift from violent fantasies to practical, survival-focused expertise. The real heroes in prepping are not those who can take down a dozen fictional enemies with a single bullet. They're those who can grow their own food, stitch up a wound, build a shelter from scratch, or navigate using the stars. These individuals understand that the foundation of survival is not violence, but endurance. They know that being a prepper is not about being the toughest or the most armed. It's about being the most prepared to endure and thrive beyond immediate crises. In conclusion, prepping is an intricate blend of physical readiness, mental sharpness, and community involvement. It is about looking beyond the superficial appeal of violence and understanding the multifaceted nature of survival. True preparedness is about equipping oneself not just with weapons, but with knowledge, not just for confrontation, but for adaptation and cooperation. Let's shift our focus back to the core values of what it means to be truly prepared. We now turn to you, our viewers. Are there ways you found to balance the excitement of survival scenarios with practical preparedness? Share your experiences in the comments below. And if you found value in our discussion today, please remember to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Your support helps us to continue providing thoughtful content aimed at fostering a well-rounded, truly prepared survivalist community.